Congratulations, guys. Wonderful job. Something to say? Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for that great introduction. You know, it's actually fitting that Mark Trombley is the one to make this introduction, because Tuesday, it's 25 years since my family moved to North Andover, and Mark was my very first friend. And I learned back then just how special his family really is. I'm not surprised to see that they've stuck together and that their business is flourishing. It's an incredible business. And for J&M and Taki's Pizza to be Merchant of the Year and to be in the same company as the Trombley family, it makes this award that much more special. Thank you also to the North Andover Merchants Association for choosing us as Merchant of the Year. In previous year, the award has gone to some great North Andover institutions. We're very honored to be part of the group. My family is here, with the exception of my parents, Matthew and Linda. They left a few days ago to visit Greece for the Easter holidays. They send their regrets. So where to begin about my family business? About my family business. Rather than talking about who we are now, it would be better to talk about how we got here. And I truly believe to understand that would be to talk more about, to go back in time a little bit, to go all the way back to World War II, 1940, 1941. My uncle and father were born 1 year apart, 1940 and 1941, on the island of Chios, Greece. It's not widely reported, but Greece played a critical role in World War II. And if you appreciate history, I highly recommend reading up on it. There's some really interesting stories there. Anyway, post-World War II Greece was just as bad as you could possibly get. The Germans destroyed most of the country when they were leaving, and soon after, a civil war broke out. I've heard stories from my father and uncle about how they waited in line to receive food and medical aid from the U.S. Army. It was actually called the Marshall Plan. Soon after the war ended, after the Civil War ended, people were starving. There was no food, no jobs, and no end in sight to the turmoil throughout the region. So in 1956, at the age of 16, my Uncle John, along with my grandfather, boarded a boat in Athens, Greece. 11 days later, landed on the shores of the United States, in New York. This is the land of opportunity, after all. My uncle moved around for a few days and finally ventured to Massachusetts, where we had family living in Peabody. He began working immediately in a garment factory making raincoats. Nearly everyone he worked with was an immigrant. Few could speak English, but all of them had the desire to work. This is, after all, the land of opportunity. His first paycheck was for $32.32, and he sent the money back to Greece, where he bought my father a bicycle. As the family legend goes, the bike had two flags on the handlebars, a Greek flag and an American flag. After working a few different jobs, oh, and by the way, my uncle did serve 6 years in the U.S. Army. My father and uncle decided to embark on a career that us Greeks know all too well, the food industry. Have you ever wondered why there are so many Greeks who own pizza and sub shops? It's because if you work hard enough and are dedicated and are willing to make sacrifices, you can be successful no matter what. This is, after all, the land of opportunity. But these sacrifices have a big price tag, long hours. You have to work nights, holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, weekends. When your friends are on the golf course, you're in the kitchen preparing food. So I look back at when my uncle and father and mother started in 1980, and I am amazed at what they did and the sacrifices that they made. And I can't help but ask myself, why did they do that? And the answer to the question is sitting at the table in front of me. My parents and uncle set out to build a better life. They worked incredibly hard so that my sister Ginny could become a pharmacist, so that my sister Eleni could be a speech pathologist, so that my cousin Tina could be a physician's assistant, and so that my cousin Michael and I could build upon their hard work and build a bit of success of our own. It all started in 1980 on the corner of Waverly and Main Streets. Who here remembers King Subs? Goes back to me. I remember when I was 5 or 6 years old, I would sit under the counter when my parents worked the lunch row up above. I remember having pizza box wars with my sisters and my cousin Michael. It would be the boys versus the girls to see who could make the most. Uncle John would cheer us on the loudest, not because he was rooting for either of us to win, but because of the free labor in stocking the shelf. Then in 1992, we moved over to 69 Main Street, one building up, and J&M was born. By then, the North Andover community had really embraced us. My father and uncle were incredibly generous in the community. They would support the fire and police departments, the schools, and so many other organizations. When Western Electric went on strike, I remember driving there with my father so we could put coffee and sandwiches out for the picketing workers. Those workers had supported my family so much, and my father wanted to support them too when they needed it the most. In 1998, we opened J&M Country Store on Salem Street, and in 2004, Taki's Pizza sold our first pizza. Over the years, all 5 of my siblings have worked in the family business in some way, and even right now, as we speak, as I stand here, my 16-year-old nephew, Matthew, is working at Taki's. Currently, we have 7 family members working in the business. When the 5 of us get together, we have some amazing memories of what it was like to grow up in the business in North Andover. We have been blessed to get to know so many wonderful people throughout the community. And it's funny how we actually know some people by name, and there are others who we just know as the plain turkey sandwich with the fries well done. But this was made possible because of the American dream. 61 years ago last month, Uncle John began his voyage for the entire Tanaka's family. And along the way, the town of North Andover embraced us and made us feel welcome. At some point in all our family's histories, we all have a similar story to tell. Our immigrant ancestors came here to build a better life for their families. They worked hard, focused on strengthening their families, and to build a better future for generations to come. Sadly now, much of the political dialogue these days is about how to keep people out. It's unfortunate because immigrants have contributed so much to what makes America great. And I know it's a complex issue, and I know that the current political climate is fractured and contentious. But right now, today, there are new waves of Johns and Matthews desperately fighting to get to America. All they want to do is to work, to contribute to our society, to build something, to build a better life for their families. This is, after all now, and always should be, the land of opportunity. Thank you.
Woo! Woo! Nice job, Jim. Michael's gonna cry. Take it.
Thank you all for coming here tonight. This does mean a lot to me. I'm not very good at speaking in front of large crowds. I'm very emotional. Mark said it last year.
It's okay. It's
I
okay.
was watching videos today of their speech last year, and Mark said it. Mark said it all. And I just want to say thank you to all of you again for being here. I have to say thank you to all my employees, our employees that are working right now to make this possible, because we can't do it alone. We need all of you, we need our employees, we need our family. Family is key. So once again, I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Wow, Jamie, you asked me for permission to go longer. Okay.